In life, if you want to do something well, sometimes you need to bring in some help from the outside. And yes, that includes running a business. Business coaching is where we are today here on All In with Bryan Weatherford. We have a business coach to help us learn not just why we need a coach, but how a coach can help. GrowthSource Coaching is the name of the company. Steve Smith is the owner. Steve Smith, welcome to the show today. How are you, sir?
Bryan, I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for being here. You know, I was looking at the notes today. Man, you're a pretty impressive guy, but the first thing that jumped off the page, I want you to expand on just a little bit. You're a catalyst for change, according to the California Business Journal. Go into that with me just a little bit.
You know, that was a complete surprise. They did an article on me a number of years ago and interviewed a few of my clients, and they came back to me and they said, wow, all of these people talk about the kind of things they're now doing in their business that they just dreamed about but never could get to. And they all reference the fact that that didn't start happening until they were working with you. So we're going to dub you the catalyst for change. And I thought, you know what? I like it. It's better than anything I came up with, so I'm going to run with it.
You know, I don't remember a lot of stuff from school, but I do remember that a catalyst speeds up or slows down things. And in your case, you may do both, actually. You could speed it up the way it needs to be or slow it down, but you get it to the level that people need to have to run their business successfully. Hey, before you got into coaching, what's your background before you were doing this?
Well, prior to my coaching world, I spent 30 years in a number of different companies and different levels of the organizations in consumer products manufacturing. And that was not only a wonderful career, but it gave me all the tools that I use today. And quite honestly, I don't know that if I didn't have that experience, that I would have been able to do what I'm able to do today.
Well, and just think if you would have had a coach back then when you were doing it. No telling where you would be, but coaching wasn't around when you were doing those things, was it?
You know, that's funny because way back, I'd say maybe in the late 80s, middle 90s, coaching at a small business level was just starting to show itself. Prior to that, coaching was relegated to the Fortune 500 types, entertainers, professional, sports folks, people like that. And it was kind of an exclusive club. And then along around the mid 90s, getting into 2000, it started really, really leaking into not only the small business environment, but more of a professional help for people that just have, middle management roles and they want to move up to a senior role. And now it's really gotten quite popular, which presents a little more problems sometimes, but it's just opened up to many more people. You know, if you need a coach, there's no reason why you can't have a coach.
Well, I learned a long time ago, Steve, in the right hands, a problem becomes an opportunity. In your case, it's not a problem. It's an opportunity for your business, but most importantly, it's an opportunity to help people to get to the level they want to be, whether it's speeding them up or slowing them down as a catalyst for change. Picked up
Yes.
on that. Hey, the other thing I wanted to ask you real quick, give me some of the differences between a client who uses a coach versus someone who doesn't. What differentiates the two? And it's got to be able to explain why the ones that don't should.
All right. So one of the biggest fears that the average person has, and it's right below public speaking, and it's the fear of change. And people that engage coaches, either they know this going in or it's explained to them early on, that the way that you develop those new skills, those new abilities, that level of confidence and thinking that's going to skyrocket your career is you have to be open to change. You have to be willing to do whatever you need to do to change into something that's going to allow you to move forward. And folks that don't do well with coaching or shy away from it, they're just not willing to change. They want everybody around them to change. They're just not willing to do what's necessary to make themselves a better version of what they could be.
You know, I'm sure in your chosen profession, you read a lot of books and have run into a lot of sayings, but one of my favorite ones is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
And so in this case,
like
you've got to change rooms. I totally get it. You need to embrace change, because in the business world, if you don't embrace change, guess what? Your competitors are, and then you've got all sorts of trouble out there. So
what's funny about that is sometimes the area that holds people back is the inner circle that they've wrapped themselves around.
Oh.
And that could be family members, it could be other business colleagues, personal friends. And sometimes you have to talk to them about, are these folks challenging you to do better, or are they just more interested in you running in place? And that can be a difficult situation for people that wake up to the reality that they need a different inner circle.
Well, it's another one of my favorite quotes is, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So that one kind of fits in there as well. Hey, so
That's
why
right.
did you've touched on it a little bit, Steve, but specifically, why did you decide to get into the coaching business?
Well, when I left my last job, I basically I got out of it because, like a lot of manufacturing jobs, when you get to a certain level, you're basically traveling everywhere. And so I was spending from Sunday to Thursday every week for years, traveling every place else but where I was living here in Southern California. And when I left that, my plan was just to find a smaller version of what I knew how to do and operate regionally. And along the way, I ran into a lady quite by accident who encouraged me to take a look at this particular field. And she looked at my background and she looked at the things I was able to do. And she said, there's a whole market, a whole industry out there that needs what you already know how to do. And so she was the one that encouraged me to go on that path and become a coach.
Well, becoming a coach is one thing, but there's a lot of different areas, if you will, that you can coach. So taking it further, understand why you became a coach, and we're all glad you did, by the way, but specifically bringing it on down just a little bit, why did you decide to get into leadership management as your coaching deal?
So my entire experience in the business world taught me that there's two fundamental areas that will either propel your business to success or cause it to fail. And it's how you deal with people, which is the leadership side, and how you're able to manage the flow of your business, which is the management side. And I have gotten just amazing amounts of training and experience in both of those things for the better part of my 30-year period. And I also realized that with many of the companies that I come in contact with, they're so focused on their own specialty or the product that they're making that sometimes they don't really step back and say, gee, if we're not doing the best that we could, we need to make a better product. And I'm saying, no, you don't need to make a better product. You need to tune up how you're working with the folks you've hired to do the work for you. And so all of a sudden they start to realize, oh, gee, this isn't a hard skill, high tech problem. This is a soft skill problem. This is how to look at how to get people to do their best and do their work on your behalf so that you don't have to do everything yourself. Because at some point you can't do everything yourself.
Does your coaching style and everything that you do for your clients, does it carry across the board? I mean, do you focus on one particular industry, or are you able to help people regardless of what industry they're in?
No, I have a number of industries that I seem to attract. So as an example, in the industrial sector, I work with manufacturing and logistics, import, export kind of things. In the commercial sector, I work with a lot of law firms and CPA practices and real estate firms and things like that. And then in the professional sector, I might work with individuals who are part of banks or other things, and they just know that they could be doing better, but they have to figure out why. So what I tell people is when you take the name of the company and the type of company, the location of the company, you move it aside, the guts that you're left dealing with is all the same.
So there's some commonality there, again, regardless of the widget or the product or the good or the service. I get that. You know, at the end of the day, people are people, and in business, you're dealing with people, and for the most part, or in any part, you got to be able to sell yourself first before you can sell your business. So if you bring it on down, I like that. That simplifies it for a guy like me who can comprehend it. You take care of the people, and then the people will take care of the business. Too many people focus on the business first and don't even think about the people. So good for you for doing that. I think you're in the right place. Got about 30 seconds left. Give me one more nugget of wisdom we can share with everyone.
All right, so what I've learned over the 12 years that I've been doing this is that a lot of times you have to sit back and ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? Because everybody in every business sector has a reputation. It could be an internal reputation, it could be a general market reputation. But many times we don't look at it from a third party, because everybody else is looking at us. They've already figured out who they think we are. Many times we haven't connected with that and said, is that what I want? Or should I make some changes to do better? So think about what you want to be known for, and that will guide you in terms of what you're willing to make those changes on and improve.
That's perfect, Steve. Folks, we all have a reputation. What do you want your reputation to be? Maybe you need a coach to get it where it needs to be. Steve Smith, thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Take care.
Bryan, thank you. Thanks for having me on.